Its energy surrounds us and binds us.
What's up, Star Wars fans, and welcome back to the Carbonite Convos podcast. Today is episode 83, being recorded on Saturday, October 29th. So we're getting into spooky season, and today we have something really fun to talk about. But before we get into that, Alec, how we doing?
Great, man. This is a bi-weekly, right? We're looking right now, I think. So it's been about 2 weeks since we've had a little bro down, man. I love doing this. It's like hanging out, man. We
Hanging out, man.
we live across the country, so we don't get to spend too much time together outside of, maybe once or twice a year we get together, but it's kind of like
Yes,
we're hanging
sir.
out, so
Definitely. We are gonna we're gonna talk Star Wars. We're gonna record a podcast.
get into some Tales of the Jedi, baby.
Yes, after this, we are also going to record a reaction to the Family Guy Star Wars episode 1, Blue Harvest. So we're going to have some drinks. We're going to get into that, and then we're going to get several wins on Fortnite. But yeah, I'm excited to talk about Tales of the Jedi. It was incredible. But before we get into that, we're having a couple drinks. I know, I mentioned to you, my choice drink of the episode is Crown Royal Regal Apple. So I bought this for a party last night. I ended up just slugging Bud Light the entire night. So I haven't taken a sip out of this, slugging Bud Light and High Noon. So the Nooners had me feeling right, but yeah, I'm ready to drink some Crown Apple now.
You put me on the High Noons when we were in Florida, man, a few weeks back.
Oh, dude, they're incredible.
Yeah.
If there's somebody over 21, that's listening to this that likes to drink, doesn't know what High Noons are, holy crap, you gotta try them. It's a vodka soda, and man, they'll get you feeling right.
They're dangerous.
Yeah, the thing is, it's only like 4.5 alcohol ABV, like by volume or whatever it is, so it's not that strong, but man, the vodka it'll get you right.
Yeah, man. So
what are you drinking?
So my go-to is usually Captain. We went to a Halloween party this weekend. I finished it off. So girlfriend had some leftover Cayman Jacks, little can margaritas. So Cuban mojito flavored. So
Cuban mojito. So
we'll see what it's about, man.
Good deal. Well, before we get into the episode, why don't we do a nice little cheers to Tales of the Jedi, to Carbonite Convos, episode 83.
Bam, baby. Yours is much rougher than mine right now. Yep, that looked like it hurt. No,
dude, Crown Apple is so sweet.
I don't care for Crown that much, man.
I would prefer it with a chaser, but
I don't prefer
a chaser. I would prefer it with, just a drink, but I have no Coke, I have no ice, so straight from the bottle it is. But I have some water, so
I don't care for Crown. I don't know what it is. I love.
Have you ever had Crown Apple?
Mm-hmm. It's fine. It's just not
so smooth. See, like if I was taking like a regular shot of like Jack or Captain like that, bro, my face would have been squeamish.
Yeah.
That is not the case with Crown Apple. But enough about alcohol and degenerate talk. Let's get into Tales of the Jedi. I figure what we could do, we talk about, just give some initial thoughts and then go into our rankings of what we thought the episodes were from. I don't want to say worst because I don't think any of them were bad.
One of them were bad.
But from least favorite to most favorite. So,
okay.
What are some of your initial thoughts on the series as a whole?
First things first, I was super surprised that it was chronological. Okay. I thought it was gonna fall in the order of Ahsoka Dooku. And to be completely honest, I did not expect it to fill in so many gaps. I thought it was just gonna be I don't know, stories. Like for example, how Ahsoka was found, and then like up until she meets Anakin, for instance, or vice versa with Dooku. It could have been how he became a Jedi. Like that's more of what I was thinking was gonna be like the Tales of the Jedi, but I was super pleasantly surprised with the storyline. So just starting off with the first episode alone, I thought the tale of Ahsoka being born and brought into the world and her family and people finding out what she's about was just beautiful.
Let me ask you a quick question. Do we want to go talk about each episode 1 to 6
Mhm.
and then go into our favorites because I
think
feel like
so.
that's okay.
I think we can get to. I think we can get into it as we go, but I'd kind of like to stay
Okay.
on the timeline. I think
Yeah, that's fine.
there's a lot of things to get into, man, and and if we really want to get them out, I think that's probably the best course of action. So
yeah, that's it. No, so continue with what you were saying about episode 1.
Yes, like here's my thing, man.
Life and death.
Life and death. Star Wars in general, it looks visually appealing, right? Like the explosions and the space battles and the blaster shots and all. It's very pleasing to the eye, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean it looked good. I thought the concept of the story was just beautiful. It was about how Ahsoka's mother tells her as she's carrying her, there's life all around, appreciate it. But then at the same time, it was kind of funny. Like she immediately killed the deer or whatever beast that was, the kai buck. She killed it right away, right? But I don't think it was supposed to be like the opposite of what she was talking about. I think it was to show, like, if you truly appreciate it, you know what you are doing. You are taking the life of another being. So appreciate it and make it worth it.
Yeah.
I think that was the lesson. And good soup. Fantastic. I liked it.
No, I like that episode too. I thought it was a really good start to the series as a whole. They were very short episodes, but they told a very concise story. So the first one, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed all of them, but it was just so interesting. I have a couple big things. One, that she had the Force at such an early age. She had beast control, so she's a year old, literally. That might have been her birthday or one day past, but she is 1 year old and she controlled this I don't know, I'm gonna call it a Kyger. Yeah. She controlled this Kyger from eating her and attacking, and then she was even able to ride it, and the Kyger brought her back to her village. So it just shows you how strong in the Force she is already, and just where that will set her up for the future as well.
What I think that really made me appreciate too was the conversation that Ahsoka and Grogu had in The Mandalorian season 2, right?
Because he has it too.
Tell me that was not almost a copy and paste in a good way.
Yeah,
a copy and paste of Grogu, like
in the Rancor,
and not the Rancor, the Mudhorn.
But he did the Rancor too. Yeah, he did both.
You're right. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. And the Rancor, 100%, man. Like how he was able to physically just talk to it, and how he's able to talk. They're able to talk to Ahsoka.
Yeah,
I think that showed and made that connection even stronger, because to me, it seems like Ahsoka had been in that exact situation before.
Yeah, no, I agree. And the next thing that I thought was super interesting is that her grandmother, right when she saw what happened, she said, Ahsoka is Jedi. So not only does she know about who the Jedi are
and what they represent,
but she knows, what their powers are. And she sees that in a 1-year-old. So
sorry, go ahead.
I just can't remember if they've explained exactly when Plo Koon found her, but I do wonder how long after that it took.
I'm not criticizing this. I'm just questioning it.
Yeah.
That word choice of Ahsoka is Jedi, right? And the only reason I bring it up is because what's her species called again? I'm sorry.
Tigretta.
Yes. That whole clan, right? The grandmother, she obviously was very mystic and connected and probably understood what the Force is, right? Why did she say Ahsoka is Jedi? And the reason I ask it is because we know her storyline. I am no Jedi.
Yeah.
Right.
I think mostly I would have to say that she's the only Force users that are very well known are Jedi. I mean, I think they know of the Sith, but I think the Force is pretty much sacred to the Jedi. The Force flows with everything, as we know. It surrounds us. It binds the galaxy together. But the ones who wield it are the Jedi. So I would assume that that's why.
Yeah, and again, I'm not like criticizing everything. I'm questioning it, like if that's what she meant, that's what she meant, right? But I'm
Yeah.
questioning it. I think it would have been really cool for her to say something more along the lines of like she is one with the Force or something along like that,
Yeah.
because I don't think the Force is necessarily representative of the Jedi. I think the Jedi are representative of the Force, not the other way around. So I think it just would have showed like how much more in nature she would have been connected with if she would have said something just a little bit more whimsical, I guess you could call it.
Yeah. No, I get it.
If I had to pick pick one thing out of the entire thing to quote unquote criticize, that would be it. But not in a
It's more
bad
of
way.
concern and like
Yes.
just
Interest.
wonderment.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely. And I don't really have a lot else on episode 1, but overall, I really enjoyed it. Like I mentioned, I thought it was a great start to the series.
For sure, man. Want to get into episode 2 now, or?
Episode 2, I don't think we have too much to talk about. Couple key points. It was awesome seeing young Qui-Gon.
Yeah,
That was awesome. And this was the first time that we've seen Dooku ignite his blue lightsaber.
it looked nuts,
So
didn't it?
it did.
Just
So
super
those
weird.
two things alone, I think, were the most interesting part of the entire series. But other than that, looking at the actual Star Wars galaxy as a whole, I think it's interesting how, people in the Republic, they see these, quote, what did they use? What was the term that they used? What's someone in criminals?
Hmm.
They see these people as criminals because their world is destroyed. So the way that they got their attention is by stealing his son. So
Right.
do I necessarily agree with that? No, but these people aren't criminals. They're hurting. Their land is weathering. They have nothing left.
Well,
And they're not criminals.
even the son agreed with their cause. Like he's like, what
Exactly.
other choice did they have?
And that's where you don't realize what's going on until you're there. But these people aren't going to go there without reason, and their reason for going is his son was kidnapped. So it was interesting to see just that contrast between the two. And I think arguably that might be the first real debate that Dooku had with himself on
Whether the Jedi's cause or
the Jedi
actually.
and the Republic. I think more so this would be the Republic, maybe not the Jedi. But in this episode, I think it was more so the Republic. And then in episode 3 with Mace Windu, it was more so the Jedi. Because I think he saw the corruption in the Republic and the Senate and everything in this episode, where these villagers are treated like second-class citizens when they're not. But overall, a great episode.
Yeah, and like you said, like, did it add a lot to the storyline? Yes and no. I think it, like you said, built Qui-Gon and Dooku's relationship as well as Mace's into episode 3. But I I thought it was interesting the fact that Dooku was going to kill him.
Yeah.
He was going to kill him. If
If it
Qui-Gon was
weren't for
not there,
Qui-Gon.
he was done.
Exactly.
If my question is, if Qui-Gon wasn't there, would that have been his turning moment?
Yeah, I think it's very
Potentially.
possible. Yeah.
I don't know, man. That was interesting, I think.
Yeah. And I don't think there's a ton more about episode 2. So we'll just kind of bleed that into episode 3.
Mhm.
What is so interesting about just Dooku's arc in this series was just seeing his gradual fall to the dark side. It's not just okay, Count Dooku was once a Jedi. He couldn't assassinate anybody. What Mace Windu said in Attack of the Clones. He's not this Count Sith Lord that used to be a Jedi that he just went from good to somehow evil.
Yeah.
We see that there was rationale behind it. It's unfortunate that it did lead to the dark side because I feel like there were a few different paths. He could have either stayed a Jedi and done something from within. He could have gone down the path that we saw him go down with, following Palpatine, or he could have left the Order similar to Ahsoka and just not have been. Ahsoka's not a dark side user, but but she's also not a Jedi. So she helps where she can. So it's unfortunate that he did fall to the dark side. And quite frankly, he became super, super evil as well. So that was unfortunate, but he did have rationale in his overall fall to the Sith.
I mean, listen to what Dooku said to Anakin in Revenge of the Sith, man. Join me and together we can take them down, right? Dooku's cause was, like you said, it had rationale behind it. But what I like to think about, and we've talked about this before, is that Dooku became so fascinated with eliminating the Sith and destroying evil that he let it corrupt him. That he became so obsessed with eliminating this evil that he became what he was trying to defeat.
Destroy.
So I feel bad for him. And we see in the results of Tales of the Jedi why, when he has to just decide with the son and the father, when he loses Qui-Gon. Right.
Yeah, and
I
even in
think
episode 3, he's with Mace. He wants to do something about it in the moment. In that moment, he wants to take action, but Mace is not like that. He follows the strict orders of the council, and Dooku is slowly realizing, well, maybe the council up to this point has lost themselves. Maybe you can't be such a governing body of right and wrong if you're not above reproach. You have to be able to
hold yourself accountable.
Exactly. You have to be able to, and this was like one of the main things. I love Yoda. I love Yoda, but this was one of his pitfalls, is that he, frankly, the arrogance of the Jedi Order as a whole. And, that's a topic of conversation. It's not new. That's a very heavily debated topic of conversation. Everybody knows that the Jedi were arrogant. But it was interesting seeing Dooku realize that for himself, that the council wasn't the end all be all.
What I find interesting is a lot, ultimately, when all the clone troopers turned against the Jedi, I think in their dying moments, they probably realized that, maybe we aren't 100% in the right. Maybe we've done some things that are, not truly for what the Jedi stand for and what the Force represents. Dooku realized it early. Qui-Gon realized it early. Anakin realized it early, right? These people who fall to the dark side, who become evil, who become so powerful, they see these truths earlier and they become the bad guys because of it, because they go against the way that's been set for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, since the days of the High Republic.
Yeah.
Right. So after these thousands of years, what truly can change? Nothing. Until someone makes it change.
No, you're absolutely right. And it's super interesting because the guys that do fall to the dark side, like you said, are the ones that are aware of what's building in the Republic. Obviously the Palpatine, the Sith, they're aware of this, and sort of what's the Pong Krell. I'm gonna say something very hot take. He's a dick, of course.
Yes.
That's not the hot take, though. Everybody knows that. But I don't hate Pong Krell, because he knew what was going on against the Jedi Order. He knew the Jedi were going to fall. He could tell, and he wanted to be on the winning side.
Yeah.
It's like, I understand. I hope that I would go about it in a different way. But he's a super interesting character. Not to say he's not a douchebag, but yes, these guys that Jedi specifically that sense what's coming. Qui-Gon was one of them. That question the council, that realize what's going on in the Republic. I think they're the most interesting ones, man, because they're the ones that can look outside of the council. They can look outside of the council. And more so in the case of Dooku and Qui-Gon, they let the Force guide them, which I like.
That, I was actually about to bring a topic up that relates right to what you said. Is there a correlation between those who become one with the Force and the people that question the Jedi Council?
think they all become one with the Force.
Well, like I'm thinking, physically, like when Jedi dies, sometime or Jedi or Sith dies, sometimes they disappear and sometimes they're still on the ground dead, right?
Well, yeah, but I think I don't know, I think we might look into that a little too much because I assume as a Jedi, we don't see their dead bodies a lot. No, you're right because when Obi-Wan dies, he just disappears. But in the case of Qui-Gon, his body had to be burned. So I don't know. I don't know if there's a correlation there. Um, I wouldn't think so. Because at the end of the day, are the Jedi arrogant? Yes, but they still think that they're following the will of the Force.
So does every villain. So does Palpatine.
But it's for selfish gain.
Mm.
Like that, I think that's the difference. Like the Jedi Council, they're not doing it. I do think they are selfless. I do think they're trying to follow the will of the Force and keep the peace. Palpatine doesn't want that. Like, does he think the Force belongs to the Sith? Probably, but that's for a much different reason. So I don't necessarily agree with that part. And I kind of lost track with where I was going, but
No, you're good, bro.
But I was saying something about the council and being one with the Force, the typical Star Wars stuff. But yeah, Star Wars.
We look into it too much, I guess, sometimes.
We do. We do.
On that note,
That's
do we want to
okay.
move into episode 4?
Let me think if there's anything for one thing on episode 3. I think the animation style is so great. Like what you said, it was great that it was in chronological order, and I like that they designed Mace a little slightly different to where
Slightly
you could
younger.
tell he was younger. And going from episode 3 to episode 4, excuse me, I had a hiccup. I pointed this out in the reaction when Dooku is walking through the Jedi archives.
Was that episode 3 or was that episode 4?
That was episode 4.
Oh, okay. We're in
That's
the
what
4
I said,
now.
going for
Okay, sorry.
going from 3 to 4. When he goes into the Jedi archives, you can tell how much he's aged.
Yes.
And maybe that is, maybe it is age, but maybe that's just stress too, which I could imagine. Apparently, I've seen that there are some retcons because, Dooku left the Jedi Order several years before this. Some people said that, but then people clarified that although Dooku left the Jedi Order, in books and stuff, he has returned to the Jedi Temple on numerous occasions, even though he left the Jedi Order, which I think is really interesting. So
maybe
a lot of people,
maybe he left when Qui-Gon died, and then. Well, no, it would have been before that. It would have been before that.
He had. That's what I was saying. Like he had left several years. He was not a part of the Jedi Order several years before this, but he was still. He wasn't a Sith Lord yet.
He was just kind of like retired.
His path wasn't. Yeah, exactly. I would say that. Yes.
So he was probably like chill with everyone. Like, yeah, it's fine.
Exactly.
Like,
that's why she was like Master Dooku and stuff like that. Jocasta Nu said that. So apparently, yes, he left the Jedi Order several years before, but he returned on many occasions. So a lot of people were complaining that they were retconning things, but they didn't know other stories that have stated that he comes back pretty frequently.
Yeah.
But man, episode 4, what a banger. From start to finish.
Shit, bro.
From start
to finish. Out the gate, like you said, Dooku's older, right? We see him in the archives, and what's he doing?
Deleting Kamino.
Oh my god. He's okay, Master Saipa Diaz. Like, holy shit.
And just the fact that
it just answers so many questions, bro. Like
it does. It answers some, and it's interesting to see what's going on at the same time as other things, because now every time I watch The Phantom Menace, when Qui-Gon, after he fights Maul on Tatooine, very briefly, I know that in very close relation, Dooku's deleting those files.
They made
And
it
that just
very obvious that it was during Phantom Menace.
Oh yeah. Well,
And
yeah.
no, I liked
Of
it. Like,
course.
sometimes there's like Easter egg and stuff where you can figure it out, right? But they made it like plain
He's
as day
encountered a Sith Lord.
exactly when it was happening during the film.
With it, like you could tell, like to the day.
Yes.
And then so he deletes the files. We cut to like a very, very small time jump of him of Qui-Gon returning to the count to the Jedi Temple to talk, and Dooku, the council didn't believe him. They didn't believe him, or they were questioning him, and Dooku, I think in that moment as well, he's realizing he quotes it, paraphrasing, "I've been warning them of this coming conflict for years."
Crazy.
And in that moment where he knows who Darth Maul is, he's well aware of Darth Maul, what Dooku is. He's well aware of him, and he's wanted the council to be aware of it too, but they won't believe him. I don't know, just to see that little
their
tidbit,
last interaction,
that and just the council not believing Qui-Gon or questioning him about it is what I think that might have been Dooku's last straw, where he was like, I've been warning them.
Well, we in Phantom Menace and all that too, they make it obvious that like they kind of don't vibe with Qui-Gon, right? Like, yes, he's a Jedi, yes, he's a master, right? But they're like, okay, Qui-Gon, go do blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and they say that Yoda tells Obi-Wan that he's rebellious.
Exactly.
He
So
said,
they
too
know
much of your
there's
master I sense in you, something along those lines.
exactly
So they know he's headstrong and he doesn't follow the council a lot.
right.
But yeah, that might have been Dooku's last straw.
It had to have been.
This is where we first meet. We first hear Yaddle. We'll get into her voice and how apparently Yoda's a nutcase now. Can love the guy. But we have a slight time jump to the day that Qui-Gon dies, or the day after.
Yeah.
He's sitting by the tree. We find out that Qui-Gon was born on Coruscant.
Yeah, interesting.
Really cool. A planet of steel and metal, and that is where Qui-Gon came. He wanted to be by the tree. We see Yaddle tell him that they're leaving for Naboo for the funeral, and he said, "I would not be good company." Qui-Gon Jinn is at one with the Force, and pretty much we need to move on. And in that moment, you knew something was going down.
Yeah.
So we all know what happens next. He goes to Sidious. Yaddle follows. And I know I texted you about it, but I want to talk to you about it a little more. I think it is super interesting. Yaddle says they're leaving for Naboo for the funeral. She goes, the fight happens, Dooku kills her, which we will get into all of that because that was incredible. Palpatine's there, and then he's at Qui-Gon's funeral. So Palpatine is responsible for Qui-Gon dying.
Mm-hmm.
He's responsible for Dooku killing another Jedi Master. Literally, it might be that same day or the day before. And then he is sitting there at Qui-Gon's funeral,
knowing he was the root of this and just enjoying it.
Yeah. When I realized that, I was like, dang, Palpatine was at the funeral.
Jesus, dude.
They were all on their way there. Palpatine still made it there. So they probably like cleaned up her body and said, "Hey, I gotta go take care of something."
Yeah.
BRB, bro.
I mean, it answers the question of where the hell she was in Attack of the Clones, why her chair was empty.
Yeah.
Because she was dead.
Yep.
Oh my God, dude. I could not believe that.
And the Clone Wars. Like, she never showed up in the Clone Wars. Like,
I could not believe that.
I couldn't. So let's get to the whole battle as well. I thought it was super interesting seeing her try to pull Dooku back. And dude,
reason with him, right?
Yeah. It was so, you could tell that he wanted to, but you knew he wasn't going to, but you could tell that he really was like fighting this. And he went down the wrong path, but he was, I thought at any moment, had we not known the outcome of Star Wars, at any moment Yaddle could have helped turn him back, and they could have fixed it.
You know what stinks?
What stinks?
If it's
Breath.
but if it's someone else, like if it's Yoda instead, do you think he brings him back? Like no,
That's a
like
good question.
let's not think about the outcome.
No, that's a good question. Like
Yaddle's
if it's
super
Yoda
cool, right?
or Mace or Qui-Gon even.
Yaddle's super cool, and I think they chose Yaddle on purpose just because I think it fit too perfect to answer a bunch of and kind of fill in a lot of gaps.
Yeah.
But if it's Yoda or if it's Mace, like you said, do they bring him back? My question is, I don't. God, who knows? What do you think?
I don't know. There were probably people there were probably Jedi Masters that had a better chance than Yaddle. I say that because obviously Yoda was his master. He has more of a relationship with Mace Windu. There are other Jedi that he had more of a relationship with, as far as we know, because we don't know of him interacting with Yaddle really other than this. So maybe they were
just
close.
happened to be the one that like questioned it.
Maybe they were close, maybe they weren't, but you never know. You really don't.
Here's the other thing, man. So, obviously Yaddle was the one there. If she was able to bring him back and influence him back, do you think the two of them could have taken? Do you think the two of them could have taken Palpatine?
Yeah.
You think so, bro?
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, Dooku's an unreal sword fighter, right? Probably the best out there, but Palpatine's too strong, man.
I don't know, man. You have two Jedi Masters, and I know that's hard because of what happened in Revenge of the Sith with 5 Jedi Masters, but Dooku is very powerful, and I wonder if he has any dark side abilities at this point. I don't know. If he does, I think they have a better chance, but I think they could take him. 2 Jedi Masters that are aware of what's going on, because I think that's why Palpatine was at least able to kill. Can't remember who he killed first, but caught him off guard. He does this freaking 720 spin move, his lightsaber right at you. You don't even have time to think.
No.
But I think they could have.
Damn, that's tough, man. Again, other people there. Mace is there. They could take him.
Oh, bro, Mace took
him by himself.
Yeah,
you're right.
Bro, Mace and Dooku, that's an easy dub.
Easy dub. Yeah, easy dub.
Easy. But man, that was I found it interesting.
I felt bad for Yaddle.
Of course.
I felt terrible. God, man.
You pointed it out that her council chair was empty. But we find out in the episode that she stepped down from the council. She said, "You were right. That's why I stepped down from the council." Qui-Gon didn't have to die. And then the ship just blows out from behind her. And then it goes down.
Yeah, I forgot she said that.
Yeah. Qui-Gon didn't have to die.
He didn't?
No.
Dude, all they gotta do is just say, okay, let's go look.
Yeah, it was even interesting hearing Dooku tell Palpatine, like, you went too far. And Palpatine reasons with him, we both lost an apprentice today. It's for, paraphrasing, it's for the greater good. It's for our cause. And I don't think Dooku was on board at that point. It was, I don't know. It's hard because you think like
Dooku's story is a tragedy.
It is, and there's just a little
start to finish from his birth to death.
Yeah, bro. You if you really like Dooku, dude, you would love Dooku Jedi Lost, that book.
I know.
It is about, dude, it is these stories expanded into a book. It is a small book, bro. The audio book at normal speed. When I listen to audiobooks, I speed them up to like 1.5, 1.6. At regular speed, it's like 5 hours long. I wonder, never mind. I'll ask you when we're not recording because I don't want Amazon to get mad at us. But
yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. Quick story, and then we'll get back to Tales of the Jedi. So I have like 10 books on Audible. Haven't paid for a damn one because I keep I may have paid for one and then I cancel. They send me deals. I think all in all, I might have paid like $12 for all of the books.
Nice.
But like 2 months ago, they said, come back. It'll be $1 for 3 free months. I was like, okay, that's 3 free books. And then I just have to remember to cancel it. So I started listening to Brotherhood, the one about Anakin and Obi-Wan set during the Clone Wars. That's a good one. I think I redeemed the first High Republic book because at some point I need to get into those because those are going to be very relevant in future movies, I think.
Well, especially with Acolyte coming out.
Yes. Going off of Acolyte, I redeemed one for the Plagueis book because I know it's
Nice.
Legends.
Yeah.
I know it's Legends, but I feel like they're gonna pull a lot from that.
Sure.
So I got those 3. I have a whole library of unread ones, man. So I'm so excited. Bro. I'm ready.
I need to get on train with those, man.
They're good.
Well, let's do it.
Back to Tales of the Jedi though. That entire episode 4, start to finish, banger. You know, we see their lightsaber battle rage on, and then what we think is an insanely brutal death. He collapses that door on her,
and her last moments, giving everything she has.
The music that was playing was the classic Star Wars music too. When I was editing our reaction, I was like, it sucks because I can't leave this part in here because
for the C word.
Yeah, it will not be able to go up. It won't go up. But it was such a powerful moment because it was literally the core music of Star Wars. And she's just rising this door, the light shining behind her. And then I wish she would have fell the opposite way because I feel like she would have had a better chance to survive. But instead she falls forward.
Yeah.
The door collapses. I feel like if she falls back out of it,
she could
has
at least
a chance to like
crawl away and like,
yeah. But that's not the case. And then Dooku just literally decapitates her. I'm glad we didn't see it.
No way they show that.
It is ironic. The first Jedi that he kills, he dies in the same way.
Huh. It's karma.
From direction from the same guy. He told him to kill her, and then he told Anakin to kill him.
I still think Anakin's was worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One final thing, and then we'll go into Ahsoka's final 2 episodes. It's still unclear whether we still don't know if Dooku knows that Sidious is Palpatine. There has been nothing that directly states that he knows.
He has to, man.
You'd think, but
he's too smart. He's too smart, bro.
You'd also think someone in the Jedi Order would recognize something. So if nobody can, who's to say Dooku's no different?
True.
I don't know. I thought that was super interesting. If he does know, I think that just adds to his story being a tragedy because, this was all because of Palpatine. It all was.
Mm-hmm.
And then his story as a whole. And then he tells him to kill Yaddle. He listens to him. And then in that moment, he just got his hands cut off. He's on his knees with his own saber and Anakin's lightsaber crossed at his neck. Anakin is telling him, I shouldn't kill him. And Palpatine, the man who groomed Dooku, who was his master, if he knows that they're the same person, says, kill him now. And you think of the camera angle when Dooku looks over at Palpatine like, what?
Are you serious? Like,
you're joking, brother? Really?
Yeah. After everything I've done for you. Yeah.
Deadass. That's exactly what I was thinking. It just adds to that, man. It's nuts. Let's get into episode 5 and 6, though.
Okay.
5. Practice makes perfect.
What'd you think, man?
I liked it. I think what made it, it was an okay. I liked it. It wasn't the highest on my list, but still thoroughly enjoyed it. But it wasn't until the final scene that it hit like all the others, because we see her training, we see Anakin pushing her and everything, but that final scene where we go from when he's teaching her to one more time jump to where she is working with Rex again to try to get this move, to another time jump to Order 66. And they take like a scene verbatim out of it. Hope all that training was pays off. And then they walk in.
Dude,
they connected that beautifully.
Here's the thing, dude. Okay, so first off, we saw Ahsoka training to use the move that eventually saves her life down the road, right? That's super cool foreshadowing. I was blown out of the water when they showed Rex and Ahsoka, like where Rex was like, I have her under siege, and he's like walking through, and how the hell did they get out of there?
Yeah.
We have to see that, bro.
What do you mean have to see that?
Like them get out of there.
When you say get out of there, like
are you talking when they walk through the doors and walk
when she has her hands pulled up?
Yes.
Are you actually saying like eventually we need to see how they did it?
I would love to.
We did.
When?
That's the whole point. That's the whole point. That is the scene from season 7.
Oh.
We saw that. That's when the ship goes down and she buries all their bodies. We've seen it.
You're right.
Oh man.
And they're all their heads on spikes. Okay, that's bad.
Yes.
You're right.
That's what made the episode for me. And that's in our reaction. I said, yo, this is Order 66.
Yes.
This is that scene. Okay. So yep, she walks out.
Wow.
And, so we gotta see. It's like,
I didn't make
we have.
I don't know why I was thinking there was a little bit of time in between there. But no, it's immediate. No, it's immediate. You're 100% right.
I couldn't tell if you were joking. I was like, wait, does he
No, I'm
it
with
happens.
I'm with you now.
Well, now I wish I would have known that, because so I could help you make that connection earlier. Because that's
100%.
That last scene, and that being the connecting scene to Order 66, that's what helped bumped it up to where it is in my list.
Sure.
The only thing.
No, I get it now. I don't know why. Do
you have to adjust your rankings?
I might have to.
I got mine written down, dude. That's
well, no, it really doesn't change it. But I don't know if I didn't know if it was already there, but I don't know why I just didn't make that correlation. But that actually does make it way cooler. Here's the other thing about that in that episode, seeing Anakin acting the way he was, and like seeing him in quote unquote teacher mode and like angry. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we hadn't really seen that aspect of the training. It was always, especially in Clone Wars, it was more along the lines of like, yeah, okay, whatever, Snips, do your thing, whatever, you suck, whatever. But this was more along, do it again. Like he was more like dictator mode.
Run it back.
Yeah.
No, for sure. That's all I have on episode 5.
Yeah.
Episode 6, there's fairly more to unpack though. I think a lot of people are complaining that this kind of retcons the Ahsoka novel, which up till this point, the Ahsoka novel was not 100% canon. Like it was, but it wasn't. It was one of those weird ones. And the way I've read the book, it does a little bit, but not enough to complain about it. Sure. Like the main concepts are still there. Ahsoka is pretty much, she's running away from all of this. She's running away from the war, from the Republic, the Empire, everything. She's running away and she's just trying to survive. We can tell that that's the same. She hides her Force abilities. She hides the fact that she used to be a Jedi. Mm-hmm. And then the Force comes out. She had to use it to save a life. Same exact thing. Mm-hmm. People start to notice, an Inquisitor comes, she defeats the Inquisitor, she rejoins the fight. It's all like the same basic story. It's just, and one thing I think we've known is, if you watch Revenge of the Sith and you read the Revenge of the Sith novel, it's much different. It's much different. In the novel, there's several pages dedicated to Palpatine beating all the Jedi Masters with mace. Like he in the book, he doesn't just spring forward and kill him in 5 seconds. No, there was a duel, but it's a movie. And then the book tells more of that story.
Right.
And I think that's what people are kind of like looking too much into it. It's like, yeah, it might quote retcon it a tiny bit, but it's really not. It's telling the same basic story. It's just a little different, which is fine. All of the same ideals are still there, which I loved this episode. And it's high on my list as well.
Yeah, I think what it did for me, man, was, sorry, what were you just saying? 1 second, the last line you just said, I just had a really good point to make with you.
All the
with the book. Okay,
yeah.
Sorry, I remember now. So with it retconning the Ahsoka book, it doesn't matter. Like, yes, you could be upset about it, but it doesn't matter, right? At the end of the day, all that matters is digital media. That's what's canon, right? So they can change whatever they want. But what I think people are forgetting about is we are getting an Ahsoka series in a few months.
Yeah, but the Ahsoka series has nothing to do with the book and all that.
No, I know it doesn't. But what I like that you said, from these books and other stories, they're gonna pull stuff in. They're going to pull things in, and kind of getting into one last point about episode 5. I love that she was wearing that mechanic looking outfit from she was wearing in season 7. So it kind of showed how
that was episode 6.
Sorry, you're right. We're in episode 6 where this Inquisitor comes.
Yeah, you were right. You're right.
I was disappointed, but not disappointed at the same time, and I'll explain why. With that awesome fight, that when she killed him, that she did not take the crystals. And I don't know if it was you who made this point or where I heard, that they're saving this for a live action.
I did not hear. I didn't say that.
I don't know where I heard this.
Okay.
But in the moment, I'm like, oh, we're gonna see her grab the saber and it's gonna pop out white and it's gonna be sick. Someone made a point, I don't remember where I heard it, that they are saving that for the series in some sort of flashback.
Interesting.
And live action. That'd be so dope.
For everybody listening, for a reaction, I was telling Alec, because Alec hadn't read the book. In the book, she kills the Inquisitor without her lightsaber, which is top notch. That's incredible. And then his lightsaber, his crystal, is the crystal that becomes the crystal in her first white lightsaber. So she cleanses it and it just bursts out white. And she ignites the blade and it's just a glowing white blade. And in the book, it is so awesome. So I was 100% expecting to see that, but I didn't hear what you were just talking about, that they're saving that for live action. I think that's sick.
I think that'd be
incredible. And also into the book, kind of going towards the end of the episode 6 and the series as a whole, we see her call in the favor from Bail Organa. He comes and saves those people, and he asks, are you ready to join the fight? And she says yes. And at this point in the book, that's when she starts going by Fulcrum, which ties into incredibly. So I was also waiting for that, because it was literally in the book. I think it might, spoiler, I think it might be the very last line where she was like, if you ever need me, just call for Fulcrum. And then the book ends and you're like, yo, no,
Fulcrum.
I got goosebumps.
I'll never forget the first time I watched Rebels was with you. We were driving. I had started it.
Driving to Florida.
I flew out to Pittsburgh. We drove to Florida just for a week just to do whatever.
Dude, that was when we started the podcast.
That was when we started
that week.
Yeah. But I remember starting the series in Fulcrum, and I was like, that's freaking Ahsoka. And you're like, is it?
Oh, really?
I'm like, that's Ahsoka. I'm like, it looks too similar to how it's Ahsoka. And you're like, nah. And then later into the show, I'm like, yes, let's go. I knew it.
Dude, so what a great series.
Fantastic, man.
Oh, 100%. 100%. All right. So we went through each episode. Now is the time that everybody's waiting for. How do we want to rank them?
Let's go. Let's go one
Are
at a
we
time.
each gonna do our own? Well, I have my list right here.
Okay.
Are we each gonna do our own ranks and start from the bottom to the top?
Like worst first or best first?
Worst first.
Okay.
Not
Yeah.
worst, but least favorite. So for me, my least favorite was 3. The one with
I was gonna say
go ahead.
2.
Okay. 3 was it for me because I don't know. There wasn't like he had some cool moments with Mace, but there wasn't anything other than Dooku having to make that choice and seeing that darkness within him. I didn't think there was any. I think there were others that were above it. You said yours was 2.
Mine was 2, along the same reasonings, man. And I'll be honest, like my 5 is 3. So like those 2 they're about the same. And not again, not that they were bad
No.
by any means. I would just say 2, and then
Yeah.
I just
2 and
like
then
3 a little bit more.
So mine was 3, then 2. And when I was debating on those, I think what pulled it in for 2 for me was because I think Qui-Gon, we've seen Mace Windu plenty of times. Seeing Qui-Gon, young Qui-Gon as Dooku's apprentice, that hit home. And then, the one main thing that I liked in episode 3, which was the lowest on the list for me, was the fact that you saw that darkness within Dooku. And we also see it, I think, even more so in episode 2. You have that plus Qui-Gon. I just went 3 at the bottom, number 2. I know we're going to disagree on the next one. What's your next one?
God, man, it's tough, and there's not a lot separating these. I'm gonna say probably 5.
Really?
And I'll explain why, but
mine. Okay. Explain.
It's not that it's the thing is, it is very easily quality of a 1. I just enjoy these other ones so much that they just trumped it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mine was 1.
Okay.
So mine goes 3, 2, 1. 1 being, it was a great episode. Really enjoyed it, but it didn't, it didn't, I don't know how to explain it without it sounding bad. And I don't want it to sound bad because I really did enjoy it. So I'm not even going to say anything. Like 3, 2, and then 1.
There's
like,
not a reason why it's so low on the list. It's just the fact that these other ones are so quality too that it's just like I just love this aspect.
Yeah.
Right?
So what's your third favorite?
1.
Okay. So yours wasn't that much higher than mine.
No, and the only reason it's above 5 is just the fact that I think it was just so there's not another word to describe it other than good.
Yeah.
Good. Like from start to finish, it was just a great introduction to it.
Yeah.
Ahsoka, man, come on, bro.
I think mine. All right. So I have a little squiggly mark between number 3 and number 2 on the list because I can't decide. I have 5 and 6. 5, the fact that it connected to Order 66 in season 7 so fluidly, that does it for me easily. And then 6, because of the connections to the book and seeing, what I read, an entire few hundred pages about summed up in a span of 12 minutes. I thought that was really cool. So I can't decide between the 2. They both, I don't know. They both just hit different. What's my number?
What's our number 2?
Your number 2. Your number 2 will be. Would be 4 is your number 2. What? Wow. So 6 is your number 1.
Again, man, not by much. And it's the only reason 6 is above it for me is just because of the fact it's about Ahsoka, right?
Really?
4, the amount of gap fill and amount of addition to the story we got, dude, it is a quality of a 1 on any list. It's similar to like having, I'm gonna make a baseball reference here, Justin Verlander and Clayton Kershaw on the same team, right? It's who's gonna pitch first. You can't go wrong with either of them.
That's a good point.
I'm gonna pick this one.
Interesting. All right, I chose 4. 4. It wasn't even a question for me. Like
For
4,
by far.
What's
your number 2?
My number 2
5?
was kind of interchangeable. It was 5 and 6.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
4 was my number 1 easy choice.
Yeah.
Just with starting with Camino, all of it happening during the Phantom Menace, Qui-Gon's death, going into Yaddle and Dooku. Yeah, man, that one did it for me. 100%.
Here's
10
the
out of
fun
10.
thing about it, bro, is I feel like if you watch through it again, depending on what you had watched before that most recently, I feel like will dictate the order. Because like let's just say you watched the prequels most recently and saw Dooku, you might like the Dooku arc better. But if you had watched like Clone Wars or something more recently, or Mandalorian and had seen Ahsoka, and maybe that might be higher in the list. I think it just depends just how our list of every Star Wars media ever, mine flips between Rogue One and Revenge of the Sith or Return of the Jedi, or I'm sorry, Empire Strikes Back, depending on what I had seen most, right? So
no,
like
I agree. That's a good point.
it's constantly moving, and what's cool about Tales of the Jedi, it's such a short little series with so much in there. I feel like for like time to Easter egg ratio was super high. So there's a lot to unpack every time you watch it, and each time might be emotional for a different reason.
Yeah. No, bro, I think you hit the nail on the head. Wait, you hit the hammer on the nail or
No, you said it
Oh,
right.
both. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. That was
Dang.
perfect description. I think you make a really good point. Rankings and lists, favorite characters, favorite movies. For me as well, they're constantly changing. And not because one's better than the other. It's just, the experience that you have with it at that moment. But to wrap this whole thing up, out of 10, what do you give Tales of the Jedi?
Okay, so rankings wise, nothing is ever a 10. Let's just get that clear. We're going pizza
I'm
scores
giving it
here.
a 10.
No.
I have no problem giving it a 10. Like I can't think of one thing they could have done that would have been different. I don't agree.
It doesn't matter.
I don't agree with the fact that
figure skating rules, dog. It's channel Dave Portnoy here, right?
No, I think he's
if
wrong.
you give this a 10 out of 10, what if something's better?
Who's to say it's better? Like you just said, it just matters at what you're watching in that moment. So
I'm giving it a 9.1.
I'm giving it a 10, man.
9.1.
I'll give Revenge of the Sith a 10. I'll give Rogue One a 10.
Yeah.
I'll give the entire original trilogy a 10. Like, dude, I think they did not miss with Tales of the Jedi damn near anything. Like, you know what I think could have done better? They could have been a little longer. But with the short period, with how much time was in them, the stories they were able to tell, bro, they're 12 minutes long.
It brings up the question, man, is this just a test?
Oh, bro, I've seen you're always going to see some negative stuff, always, but overwhelming majority people love this.
Yes.
And there's been two major questions. First question, when are we getting season 2? And when are we getting Tales of the Sith? Bro, can you imagine?
No, I can't.
No. You could, bro. The thing is for Dooku, you could
both.
Do one of him. I would argue that I would love that if they did a Tales of the Sith season 1, I would like to see Dooku in that one as well.
Yes, I agree.
Yo, the snowball is rolling.
Maul,
keep pushing it.
Holy shit, Maul.
Yeah, like
dude,
all of
them. Oh my
god, dude, like Maul, Palpatine, Bane, Revan, Kylo Ren, everybody.
Holy shit.
Even I don't know, Snoke, like Inquisitors. Yes,
oh
bro. Like
God, dude.
They wouldn't even have to do individual Inquisitors. Like, bro, Tale of the Inquisitors, Tale of the Bounty Hunters.
Holy shit.
This could be something big. And maybe we've
talked about it before, man. Anything is possible with animation.
It is.
Anything.
It is. Characters don't age. You can do anything you want. But 10 this episode, 10. 100%. I'm giving it a 10. I disagree with School Presidente. I think things can be a 10. I encourage things to be a 10 because that means you're just thoroughly enjoying it.
You got me hype.
Dude, think of that. We could get Tales of the blank. Dude, look at what I wrote on this piece of paper.
Hey,
Tales of Tales of the blank.
Tales of Jar
Like,
Jar.
Literally, Tales of the underworld. Like,
Dude, holy shit. We can get more
Ta-
boba.
bro, Tales of Coruscant, Tales of whatever. Bro, we need to do a little list. Like,
Hey, Disney, if you're listening.
they're not, but let's
No.
hope.
Yeah, sure. Hey, Walt, your frozen head. You got the headphones in? Where you at?
That ass. All right. Do you have anything before we let the people go?
No, man. This was a fun conversation.
This was a lot of fun.
From start to finish, I am extremely pleased. I would not change one thing. I want more tomorrow.
I know, right?
I would pay a ton of money to be to have access to this or to be
It's funny that you say
involved
that.
in. I want stuff to be answered about characters we like.
Yeah.
And that's
Did you watch
has
Star
limitless
Wars?
potential.
It is. Did you watch Star Wars Theory's review of Tales of the Jedi? It's funny because a lot of what you said is a lot of what he said. It's like, the main thing is like, I would pay money. He said, I would pay a subscription service monthly to see Tales of the Jedi and just Tales of the Sith. That would be dope. Can you imagine $5 a month to get 6 more episodes of Jedi and
realistically, Sith? How much would you pay a month to see 5 episodes?
Bro, I pay $10 a month for a
I'd
Marvel.
pay more than that.
I pay $10 right now for a Marvel Unlimited comic subscription that I don't use 6 months out of the year. And that's just to read comics. Damn. But man, like, I have read some awesome comics. Like, you should, it's $10 a month, bro. Marvel Unlimited, especially, you being a big Spidey guy, like, you can read Spidey. There's so many one-off Star Wars comics that are incredible.
I've read a decent amount of Spidey stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know you actually read the comics.
At one point, I had like this thick book.
Really?
I don't know what happened to it.
When you were young or recent?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to it.
You read them when you were younger.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know you read comics when you were young.
I had that, and I was big on coloring books. I had a lot of Spider-Man coloring books.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Spider-Man and the Flash were my big ones.
Really?
Yeah.
That's really neat. I was always Star Wars. Like, I had Star Wars coloring books. I
fucked with the X-Men animated series too. I liked Gambit.
Hey man, you could be quite pleased because X-Men is back. I don't know if you knew that.
Back, baby.
It's back. But let's wrap this up. Everybody, we really appreciate you tuning in for another episode. It was episode 83, so we are just 17 episodes away from the big triple-digit mile marker.
Damn, man.
I know. I thought we would have got there sooner, but like Alex said, we've moved to bi-weekly. We're focusing on other things in the show. That just quite frankly, we not that we enjoy more because man, this is one of my favorite things to do, but just things that we have decided it's more important to dedicate our time to. But this is how it started with the podcast. So we really appreciate you tuning into episode 83. Let us know what you thought of Tales in the Jedi. Please give us your rankings of the episodes in the comments. We'd love to hear them. We'd love to see what you guys thought. Excuse me. So thank you again. And until the next time you're on Carbonite Convos, like always, may the Force be with you.
Remember, the Force will be with you. Always.